Hello, check. 1, 2, 3. Probably can't hear me. See. Oh, there we go. Oh, you can share. Thank goodness. Yeah, we're going to share. And this thing is taking a hot minute to open. There we go. Lord of mercy. All right. Can I move this over? So I can see myself too. Fantastic. All right. We're up. We're up and moving. Gotta plug in my computer real quick. I thought I did it. Apparently I did not. Hold up. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Katie. I'm going to be going over this project 2025, and we're going to get down to the bottom of these 920 pages. Now, I'm going to be breaking this up because I don't want to torture myself completely. All right. But this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be reviewing it, and we're just going to see what the Republican Party has in store for the upcoming 2025 election. So let's just get right into it and see what they have to say about this. All right, Project 2025 Presidential Transition Project. Chang listed all the people. Oh, acknowledgements. Let's see what the Republican Party has to say about their acknowledgements. Here we go. This work, Mandate for Leadership 2025, the Conservative Promise, is a collective effort of hundreds of volunteers who have banded together in the spirit of advancing positive change for America. Our work is by no means the comprehensive, compendium of conservative policies, nor is our group the exclusive cadre of conservative thinkers. The ideas expressed in the volumes are not necessarily shared by all. Interesting to note. What unites us is to drive to make our country better. First and foremost, we thank the chapter authors and contributors who gave so freely of their time in serve of their country, their time in service of their country. Okay. We were particularly grateful to have the help of dedicated members of the Heritage Foundation. And let me highlight this. Here we go. Right here, specifically. Of the Heritage Foundation movement. All right. So this is the one that wrote this whole thing. This is the group that essentially created this document. We got Executive Vice President Derek Morgan, Chief of Staff Wesley Coper-Smith, Associate Director of Project 2025 Spencer Chartine, and Thomas A. Rowe, Institute of Economic Policy Studies Director Paul Ray, devoted a significant amount of their valuable time to reviewing and editing the lengthy manuscript and provided expert advice and insight. And lengthy is an understatement. Okay, 900 pages is wild. All right, the job of transforming the work of dozens of authors and hundreds of contributors into a cohesive manuscript fell upon Heritage, a formidable team of editors led by director, research editor Therese Panayfather, again, Heritage, senior editor William T. Pohl, Marla Hess, Jessica Lothar, Karina Rollins, and Kathleen Scaturo. Without these tireless efforts, you would not be reading these words. A lot of words. The talented work of data graphic service management, John Fleming, manager of web develop and print project, Jay Simmons, director of marketing, Elizabeth Bender, senior graphic designer Grace DeSandro, and senior designer Melissa Bluey came together to bring the volume of light. We also thank the dedicated junior staff who provided immeasurable assistance, especially Jordan M. Bray, Sarah Calvis, and Jonathan Moy. I don't know. Most importantly, we're grateful to the leadership, supporters, and dozens of each of the Project 2025 Advisor Board members organization and those of the Heritage Foundation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me undo this. Hold up. Here we go. Without whom the project 2025 would not be possible. Thank you, Paul Dance and Stephen Groves. Okay. Well, I'm done reading all that. Let's just get into the bread and butter of all the policies. Oh my goodness. All right. This is the notes. We'll see. Essentially, this is going to be the stand on what the Republican Party specifically, wants when they transition from one president to the other president, the 46th president to the 47th president, currently Joe Biden, onto whoever wins the election in 2025 and or in November. So here we go. Project notes. Starting on page, I don't even know because it's kind of like at step 13. Yeah, still at step. It's all right. Starting on page 13. Here we go. We want you. I love how the we takes up 3 lines, but whatever. The 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the oh my god. Oh my goodness, dude. Conservative. I don't know why I want to say conservation so bad, and I just could not stop myself. Conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern at 12 noon, January 20th, 2025. That's interesting. Okay. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now part of it. Ooh, I don't know about that. All right. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these passages will be for those of the 47th President of the United States, and we hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. Okay. History teaches that a presidential's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administrative's opening day. Okay, so literally day one. All right. To execute requires a well conceived, coordinated, unified plan and trained and committed cadre of personnel to implement it. In recent election cycles, presidential candidates normally begin transition planning in the late spring of the elective year or even after the party's nomination was secured. That is too late. Okay. I don't know what kind of strategy they're on, but I thought that that was interesting. The federal government's capacity and growth advantage at the seemingly log- logarithmic rate every 4 years. Oh, okay. For conservatives, to have a fighting chance to take on the administrative state and reform of our federal government, the work must start now. The entirety of this effort is to support the next conservative president. Okay. They're very they're very gung ho. They're very passionate about the idea that the next person that wins is gonna be a Republican, which I think is pretty interesting. Anyways, so like this, my next question is like, so if it's just the Republicans, right? Do they care if do they care if like what if a Democrat wins? Is this also in the plans or is this only for a conservative, right? Did it, you know? Okay. Whoever he or she may be. In the winter of 1980, the fledgling Heritage Foundation handed the president elected Ronald Reagan the inaugural memorandum of or mandate for leadership memorandum. Oh my goodness. All right. So, see when this all started. All right. Boom. This collective work by conservative thought leaders and former government hands, most of whom were not party of heritage, set out or policy prescriptions, agenda, agency by agency for the incoming president. The book literally put the conservative movement and Reagan on the same page, and the evolution that followed might never have been, save for this band of committed and volunteer activists. With this volume, we have gone back and forth, gone back to the future, and then some. Oh, I needed to just read the policy, man. I, oh my goodness. When does it actually start? Okay, I'll finish this little section and we'll get into it. I'm over. I'm over this whole promise. Uh, in the it's not 1980. They're true. In 2023, the game has changed. The long march of cultural Marxism. Wow. Oh, hold up. Can't highlight this. Oh my goodness. Cultural Marxism. They're calling it cultural Marxism. And here we go. One second. All right. Let's switch agendas real quick. All right. Here we go. So everybody knows what it is. All right. So we're not having confusing. All right. Marxism is a political philosophy and a method of social economic analysis. It uses a dialectic materialistic interpretation of historical development, better known as historical materialism, to analyze class relation, social conflict, and social transformation. Marxism originates with the works of a 19th century German philosopher Karl Marx, and Friedrich Engels. Marxism has developed over time into various branches of schools and thoughts, and as it results, there is no single definite Marxist theory. Marxism has a profound effect in shaping modern world, and it varies left-wing and far-left political movements, taking inspiration it from it in varying local contexts. Mm, okay. Marxism seeks to explain social phenomena within any given society by analyzing the material conditions and economic activities required to fulfill human material needs. It assumes that the form of economic organization or mode of production influences all other social phenomena, including uh, broader social relations, political institutes, legal systems, and cultural systems, aesthetics, and ideologies. These social relations and the economic system best form a basis and superstructure. All right. So it says here, as Karl Marx wrote, at a certain stage of development, the material product forces the society to come in conflict with existing relationships and products, or this merely expresses the same thing in the legal terms with the property relations within the framework of which they have operated hitherto from forms of development of the productive forces. Does these relations turn into their feeders, then begin an era of social revolution. Yeah, okay. So we'll stop with that, and we will go back to the actual document. Share. We're back with the document. So, document, making sure we're still understanding that they're calling this Marxism 2023 Marxism, even though it's not, but we'll keep going. Throughout our institutions, has come to pass, the federal government is a behemoth weaponized our American citizens and conservative values with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original mooring is too far great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. Interesting that you say that. So you're saying it's too far great and essentially too far gone. Are they saying an individual? Oh, it requires a collective action and movement. Okay. Okay. With the quickness approaching of January 2025, we have 2 years. Oh, 2 years. So this was done in 2022. And one chance to get it right. One chance. Project 2025 is more than 50 and growing of the national's leading conservative organizations joining forces and preparing to prepare and seize the day. The axiom goes personnel is policy, and we need a new generation of Americans to answer the call and come to service. This book is functionally an invitation for you, the reader, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, Miss Smith, to come to Washington or support those who can. Our conservative goal is to assemble an army. Ooh, oh boy, that's scary. Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative service. Our goal is to assemble an army. They didn't say a collective, they didn't say a gathering, they said an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared. Aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared. Oh my God, I can't put my other finger up. There we go. That's scary. So you don't want anybody else thinking differently. Aligned, vetted. That's just like making sure that everybody does what you say whenever you want. And that's scary. Oh my goodness. I think I'm only going to make it back to the pillars, and because we're already at 21 minutes, I probably will only get through like 30 minutes of this, because this is the opening, and so far it's a little rough. It's a little tough to get through. But we'll hit the pillars and we'll see how they break it down. And after that, the next stream, we will knock into this thing and see what the heck the Republicans want for the new 2025 conservative administration. So here we go. Finish out the pillars, call it a day. All right, pillar one. This volume puts in one place our consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed, and where disagreements exist, brackets out of these differences, and the next president to choose a path. For the next president to choose a path. Pillar two is a personal database that allows candidates to build their own professional profiles, and our coalition members to review and voice their recommendations. These recommendations will then be collated. Collated. I almost want to say collected. Collated and shared with the president-elect's team, greatly streamlining the appointment process. All right. So I don't know why they always seem to be in a rush with this. Like they literally want to get boots on the ground running. It's kind of crazy that they're like, oh yeah, like let's just like go and change everything. All right. Excuse me. Pillar three is the Presidential Administration Academy, an online education system taught by experts from our coalition for the newcomers, and this will explain how the government functions and how to function in government. Okay, I'm pretty interested in three. For the experience, we will host in-person seminars with advanced trainings and set the bar for how we expect. So, what is expected for senior leadership? Okay, interesting. I'm interested in pillar three thus far. Pillar four, the playbook. We are forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the presidential unitarians of So Help Me God. Okay. As Americans living in the approach of our national's 250th birthday, very cool, we have been given much at conservatives, I'm telling you, this is a hard read sometimes. As conservatives, we are much required to steward this precious heritage for the next generation. On our behalf of our coalition partners, we thank you and invite you to join us at the project2025.org. Paul Dans, the director of Project 2025. And we will end there on page 14. The next time we're going to skip through all these authors, blah, blah, blah. I can't read all that. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy. No wonder why it's 920 pages. Oh my God. And there's another promise to America? Okay. You have the conservative promise again. Actually, I should probably read that next. A promise to America. Because I saw some bullet points there. Okay. I'll just briefly go over this. I don't think I'll read it in the next one. But is once again facilitating this work, but our dozens of partners and hundreds of authors will attest that this book is the work of the entire conservative movement. As such, the authors express consensus recommendations already forged, especially long for broad fronts that will decide America's future. And here we go. 1. Restore the family as a counterpiece of American life and protect our children. All right, before I even go to the next 4 bullet points, I kind of want to break down what in the world does that mean? Restore the family as a centerpiece? Like, what policies are you going to put in place that ensures families are the main focus of American life? Like, I really wonder, like, how are they going to attack this? And when I say I really wonder, is it going to be policies in which it's better tax benefits for those who register with dependents, right? Like people with kids are to get better tax breaks. Do they get a more significant tax break? Do they get special discounts on auto loans, or like are there incentives for jobs, doing better contract work for jobs that we put in place, things like that? That if you are going to a doctor and you check that you are a father or a mother or a sister or a brother or something, like do you get anything? Do you get better insurance for that? It just compared to as an independent, like what ways in which are they going to focus that keeping the family? My main question is, how are they going to focus on making policies that keeping families together as an incentive? Because that's really hard to do. It's really hard to say, oh, let's say there's a man, a woman, and 2 kids, right? Does the man and woman get extra benefits? How? What benefits do they get by being together compared to if they were separated or divorced? Is there benefits for marriage? Are there benefits if you just have kids? Are there benefits if you're a couple? Are there benefits when you have to buy a mortgage, a car? Because like rent, homes, groceries, and like cars are like the most expensive things like we have, and same with healthcare. So are like they gonna attack like those 5 areas? That'd be interesting to see. Dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. That's that's a huge promise right there. And I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure they will break it down even further. But defend our nation's oh my goodness. Defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty. It is bounty. No. Bounty against global threats. I mean, does that also include domestic? Because, I mean, as we just witnessed, as of yesterday, Trump just got attacked. The guy who was running for president currently got shot at, and unfortunately, there were people that died. So, we talk so much about terrorism, externally, but what about internally? That's something I want to hear. Secure and lastly, they say secure our God-given individual right to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessing of liberty. And I want to highlight this: to live freely, and what our Constitution calls the blessing of liberty. I think that's pretty interesting, considering I've already scanned most of this, so I already know that there are a lot of things in here that push Christianity on the American public. So I think that's interesting that they say that you're allowed your individual rights and to live freely, but to follow these Christian values, because if you don't, you know. But anyways, I'll stop sharing this. That's all I have for this stream. We made it through the intros essentially. I thought I was just gonna get into the main bread and butter, but honestly, sometimes going back and getting context from what they are trying to set up really helps when you're going through it. And I think like the biggest takeaways were these three things that I noticed was comparing it to Marxism, comparing it to the fact that we are going to be reshaping the government in itself, and that they seem to be wanting to do it day one, which we saw numerous times. And then lastly, the last bullet point that they said right there is secure our God-given individual right to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessing of liberty. So if there's any three things I took away, it was those from the opening statements. Now, next time I go live, we'll actually get into the bread and butter of it. I, again, thought we'd get into it more, but I didn't realize there'd be 14 pages of intros. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed the stream. But yeah, next stream, we're getting more into this. This is just intros. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you've read it. What do you think about this? If not, you can still come see my streams. We'll go through it live together. But on that note, I'm out. I hope everyone has a good day. Thank you for joining in.